Welcome to the Good Old Football Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Edwards, drinking a Bengali IPA from 6 Point Brewery. I'm here with my friend Mitchell King. I just went and bought a six-pack from a convenience store. The display said $15, and then he handed me a receipt for $30. I'm quite fired up.
Welcome to New York, man.
That's what he said. That's what he tried to say. He's like, I'm not going to do his accent, but he was like, downtown Lower Manhattan prices. I was like, dude, I live in Midtown. Right. These are $12 up there.
I'm not a tourist.
Right. Like, I know I'm wearing a flannel shirt, and like my face says Ohio all over it, but... So anyways, we're going to really enjoy these 6 Point Brewery beers that are good and healthy and nice for you and cost stadium prices. And I'm going to go back and I'm not going to do anything to that guy. In case he ends up getting beat up, it wasn't me. Mitchell King joining me, my third guest on the Good Old Football Podcast. How are you today?
I'm good, Matt. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you. So Mitch and I have known each other since like 5th grade. And I don't know, we still know each other and we're old now. This just hit me. So like we know each other from school and then growing up. But also after we had known each other for probably like 7 or 8 years, I found out we were related.
Yes.
We're like third cousins.
Related.
Yeah.
Which is pretty normal in southeastern Ohio. Where we're from.
Yeah, dude. That's one of those things that like you tell your parents like, oh, I'm going to hang out with John Filipomeno, and they'll be like, oh, is that Kenny Filipomeno's son? And you'll be like, yeah. And be like, well, him and your mom used to date. He's your second cousin. That's why they're not married.
Now we can't date now.
Yeah, that's how that happens. So Mitch is here. We're in Lower Manhattan, where six packs are $30 freaking dollars, and you're here from Vegas. How long have you been in Vegas now?
So I lived in Vegas last summer as well for like 4 or 5 months. But I've been there now for like another 4 months, so almost a year combined.
You've got. Is it? I'm gonna need you to talk a little louder. Is the buzz for the Raiders as real as like the NFL makes us think?
I mean, I would say so. I mean, the locals are pretty excited. I think like the hockey team coming like recently kind of helped too. Everybody's kind of jumped on that bandwagon as well. So I'd say it's going to be pretty similar. I mean, I can see from my apartment, I can see the construction of the stadium, and it's got everybody pretty excited. It's like right on the interstate there. So I'd say it's a pretty good buzz. Yeah.
Is it? I don't know. What's a local in Vegas like? Because when I was out there in March for a bachelor party, a lot of Golden Knights stuff, a lot of Raiders stuff, and then I tweeted at the time, third most was easily Brown stuff, but I was also in the touristy areas.
Right.
And the local people actually get into the football there or no?
Yeah.
I mean, outside of the gambling aspect?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean, obviously a lot of people are gambling, but I think a lot of people were transplants from like California and stuff, so you got a lot of like LA fans and other teams like from the California area are pretty big out there.
Where do you stand on... So I'm good now. I was always anti-bailing... Or no, I was anti-sticking with your team if they moved, right? So we saw, like, everyone we know who was a Browns fan when they were little hates the Ravens.
Right.
But they knew the Browns were coming back, too.
Mm-hmm.
As to where, if I'm an Oakland Raiders fan, I'm sticking with them in Vegas. Or don't you think? Like,
yeah.
I'm not asking what other people, like, wouldn't you be like,
right.
Like,
I mean, I guess it's close enough. I don't know. I guess I would stick with them.
I guess it depends on where you're from.
I guess I don't know until I'm in that situation, you know? If, like, me being a Bengals fan, if the Bengals left Cincinnati, I don't know what I would do. I mean, I guess there's not much to stick around for.
Yeah. That'd be like a nice opportunity.
Yeah, right?
That'd be like getting out of a bad relationship.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just go to New England, you know?
Dude, see, that's the thing, though. I wouldn't, because trust me, I've thought about this. Sorry if you hear my chair squeak. By the way, we're recording this at 7 o'clock on Monday night, so if anything wild happens in the Monday night game and we don't talk about it, sorry. You know what? Life goes on. Listen to someone else. Don't, actually. We'll do that, too. Anyways, I'm good with bailing on your team. I've decided, like, I'm not going to bail on the Bengals. I never will. But as long as you don't jump to a contender, right, I'm good with it. Like, I've thought right now, I kind of want to see the Jets do well.
Yeah.
I went to a Jets Monday night game. The fans seem cool. I like Sam Darnold. I think Adam Gase is a freaking weirdo, but whatever.
Right.
But, like, how do you feel about it? I'm always curious how other people feel. Am I a psycho for feeling that way?
No, I think it kind of depends on your situation, too. So, like, you live here in New York now, and you're like, oh, I like going and, like, seeing Jets games and stuff like that. When I was here in New York, I loved going to, like, Mets games. So I feel like I was like, oh, it's like my second MLB team. So if I was staying in Vegas, I would go watch some Raiders games. And if for some reason Cincinnati, the Bengals left, then maybe that would be a team I would gravitate towards. I guess if you're not living in that city, it'd be a little easier.
Yeah,
but
but neither of us grew up in Cincinnati. Our dads just drug us into it, and they weren't from there either. My family has no ties to Cincinnati.
What are they doing?
I don't know. Yeah, for clarification, I'm not jumping to the Jets. The Bengals game yesterday, which you didn't watch because you were on a flight.
Right.
It was bad, and it was one of those. It was one of those where I barely watched the 4:00 games. Like I watched the first half of the Saints Bears, and then I watched the second half of Seahawks Ravens. But it was that disgusting. How are you still fully invested at this point with the Bengals?
I mean, no. I'm kind of I'll watch, but I'm not I don't have any high expectations. If they lose, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. I don't get it. Even yesterday, I was like, all right, just get one. They still would have been 1-6.
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel that way.
I don't know. It's just weird to me because from last year, they didn't have a great season last year. They started strong until they had injuries.
Yeah.
So I was hopeful for this year. I was hopeful after the Seahawks game, and now after that, they just completely fell off. So I'm I don't even know what to expect. I mean, they look like crap. I don't know what's going to happen to AJ Green. Do you
want AJ to stay, or do you want to get traded?
I mean, I don't know what you trade him for. I mean, even if you get a first-round pick, who are you going to get in the draft that's as good as AJ Green?
I mean, the thing is his injuries. If he's not hurt, he's good. Keep him, right. No doubt about it.
He's been injured.
But he missed 7 games last year. He's already missed 7 this year.
Yep.
I think he's played 1 full season in the last 4 years. That's going to be a rough thing to figure out. And then the other thing is you also have John Ross, who's finally looking good. Mm-hmm. You have Tyler Boyd, who I don't know if he's a solid number 1 receiver, but if you can pair him... The thing is, you're going to have to pay AJ Green, too. It's not like he's got a bunch of time left on his contract. We'll see. That'll be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. Yesterday, I'll say this, and you didn't get to watch it. Andy Dalton... By the way, Bengals led going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Ended up losing by, I think, 14-16. I think it was 26-10, maybe 24-10. I don't know. Either way, they led going into the fourth quarter 10-9. And Andy Dalton got sacked, or something bad happened. Bobby Hart, who just needs launched into space.
Garbage.
I mean, never met the guy, but just couldn't. I mean, my dad has dead seriously said, we'll be watching him. My dad's 51 years old, and my dad will be like, I honestly think I could block better than he does. And I believe him.
You might be right.
He would definitely give more of an effort. But Andy got fired up at Bobby Hart, which is something that, thank God. I mean, that's one thing. As you know, when I worked in Cincinnati, Andy Dalton's the nicest dude, athlete or not. Just the nicest guy. But sometimes I wonder if he's too nice of a guy, because we've seen Brady flip out on people. We've seen Rodgers flip out on people.
Yeah, it makes you question almost I know he's a competitive guy. He's a professional athlete.
Right.
But it makes you question when you see other quarterbacks, like you just said, like Tom Brady. I mean, you see Drew Brees, pump up his team before the game. That's something Andy would never do. He doesn't raise his voice at all.
Right.
And for the most part, I've supported him. I don't know where I am now. It's kind of getting to a point where, I don't know what to think, But, I've always thought, he just needs to be more vocal. He needs to be more of a leader. He's always kind of led through his, play, but I don't know if, he has that it factor when it comes to, leading a team. A quarterback needs that, especially at that level. And
I remember when I was an intern in Cincinnati his rookie year when Bruce Gradkowski was, the veteran there, and then Andy was a rookie. And I remember Andrew Whitworth, it was the coolest thing, getting to do interviews. I was 20, 21, and getting to talk to the players. And I remember Whitworth talking about Andy Dalton's such a fiery guy, he gets mad. Where is that?
I've never seen it.
And Whitworth's not a guy who lies. I don't know what happened to that dude. I wonder if he's one of those guys that's got kind of sick of football, you know? And there's a lot of professional athletes who you're not going to turn that paycheck down, but you're just kind of over the winning and losing, and you realize there's bigger things in life, which there are, especially to a guy like Andy who's got, 3 kids in his foundation and, he's a very Christian dude, went to TCU, all that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people think about a professional athlete, that's their life. But, I mean, they have so much more life after that. You retire when you're 30, 35, 40 years old, older if you're Tom Brady. But, I mean, shit, they have so much more to do after that. It's just a small moment in their life.
Yeah. This is as soft as I've ever heard your voice, by the way. You're doing fine with the microphone. It's picking you up. But I think people who don't know you are going to picture you as this nice... But no, you're a mean wrestling guy. You have a beard. You can beat people up. You don't, but you could.
I'm drinking beer?
We're drinking beers for freaking $30 for a 6-pack. BJ Mag and Sons in downtown Manhattan. I left them a review already on Google Reviews.
Go check
it out. And here's the thing. Yeah, you can go check it out. You see me there in my suit and tie. there are other people saying the same things I said who are like, yeah, they don't put prices on anything, and then they ring, which that's very common in New York, because, I mean, they're bodegas. It's not like they're Target or whatever where they have, like, the printing things. But, like, it's common in New York, at least the places I go, to not see a beer price listed. Mm-hmm. But you're going to pay 10, 12, maybe $15. And it's like, all right, for a 6-pack of IPAs, that's fine. $30. I hope that guy.
You're never gonna get.
I hope that guy gets hit by a truck.
You should have him on the podcast.
No, he will. I will pray against him. Is what I would do. Dude, speaking. So here's what's funny to me. We talk about Andy Dalton. It's not funny to me, but Andy Dalton, him getting hit by a truck would be. We talk about. I don't care. I want my $15 back. By the way, he told me I couldn't return it. I didn't even take it off the counter. I was like, dude, can I have my money back? Like, I know I can walk across the street. He was like, no. It's like.
No returns here.
I said swear words at him.
Which ones?
The BS one.
Oh.
That was my parting shot. Was, dude, this is BS. Except I said the full word, and then I left. But he didn't say it. He knew he was wrong, and for that he'll burn in hell one day. Thank God. But anyways, so like I do wonder if Andy, because those 3 fourth quarter interceptions he just didn't seem to care. It's like, I'm going to get rid of the ball. I'm not going to get murdered back here behind this dog crap offensive line. Mm-hmm. On the opposite end of that, and I thought about this because you texted me when I was on my flight back from Chicago the other night, and there was a guy on my plane. Tell me this. How do you feel about, as a grown man, wearing NFL jerseys?
So, when I was like still in like college, high school and shit, I would wear jerseys. I don't wear jerseys anymore. I don't want another man's name on my back.
Isn't it weird?
But yeah, like I know what you mean. Like I know grown men that do it. And I definitely like have jerseys like in my closet still that just kind of sit there. I'm sure you do too. But see, I don't wear jerseys anymore. Yeah.
I'll wear like legend guys. Like I have a Boomer Esiason one that I'll wear. Because that was like a little kid thing for me. That's like, wearing like stuff like that's fine. I don't think I'd ever buy another jersey. And if I did, it'd have to be like an ironic one, like, I don't know, like someone, like a Pac-Man Jones jersey would be funny, right? Because he was kind of a crazy person.
Or Antonio,
I like him a lot, by the way.
Antonio Brown Raiders jersey.
Yeah, like that would be funny. That would be a cool thing to wear.
They're all over Vegas, by the way. Really? People were wearing those around.
Sure, yeah.
And that happened. I was like, that is hilarious.
Man. Well, there were some people who had the Patriots jerseys.
Yeah.
Gosh, we haven't heard from him much. He tweeted free AB, but I don't know what he's up to. He said he's going back to school. Who knows? But anyways, I bring that up because on my flight from Chicago to New York, there was a guy wearing a Carson Wentz jersey. They were playing in Dallas, so he wasn't going there. This was Saturday night, so we got in at like midnight. So if he was getting to Dallas, I mean, not even 24 hours later, he was going the wrong way. But he had a Carson Wentz jersey on it. It looked like a cat had been sleeping on it for the past month. It was all torn up. And it made me wonder, because I remember I had a few non-Bengals jerseys growing up, but I had a Randy Moss Vikings jersey. And I remember being in like 6th grade at the Tri-Valley Intermediate School and wearing my Randy Moss Vikings jersey to a school dance.
Oh, shit.
And thinking it was cool.
Hell
like, yeah, this is my jersey, man. This is cool. And it was kind of at that moment that I realized, like, okay, this is cool, but like not something you just wear on a regular basis. And when I saw that guy, it reminded me of that. And I was like, that's me in 6th grade, but you're a grown man with a beard on the airplane. And there's something wrong here.
Right.
So, people can do what they want.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't think
to me, having another grown, and it especially hit me when I started covering NFL games, and it's like I talk to these dudes, they're pretty regular dudes. Most of them are very nice, but if I was them, I'd be creeped out by another grown, like little kids, obviously, great, fine. But the whole, I don't know. Yeah. But obviously people do it. There's a ton of them.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't be out there if they weren't making money.
In addition to, dude, my flight was. Let me tell you about this. So I see that guy. That's already got the wheels turning. That's kind of cranky. I don't know why. That's already got the wheels turning. We get on the flight. I'm one row behind the emergency exit row. And you know how the stewardess will come up and say, like, hey, you guys know you're in America? And the one guy has his headphones on, not listening. She has to, like, smack him on the shoulder to get him to pay attention. He looks like, what's he looks like a member of ICP, right? Like, without the makeup. Like, he's definitely been to an ICP concert in his life. He's got just a gross beard. And it just hit me like, they're okay with this guy. If this thing goes down, this is the guy who they're going to be like,
this is the guy you're choosing to...
Get the doors open, buddy.
You won't even hear the plane going down.
Right,
He's got headphones in.
On. And then, it was a bad flight. And then there was a dude sitting beside me who just smelled weird. And it was a 2-hour flight.
And so you were flying from Chicago to New York.
Chicago to New York.
It's so funny you mentioned that because, like, flights to New York, the people, I don't want to say anything but bad about New York people, but people that fly to New York, if you're flying to the Midwest, the people are completely different than if you're, like, flying to New York.
Yeah.
Like, some of those flights have been, like, the worst flights. And they'll start boarding early because, like, those people take longer to board and, like, they're always, like...
Wait, not New York people?
No, people flying to New York.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if they're, like, New Yorkers or, like, what it is, but I don't get it. But I met these, they were, like, flight attendants.
Well, I'll say bad about people. It just seemed like there was a bunch of white trash on a plane. That's all it was to it.
I actually met these flight attendants on those flights. The flights to, like, the larger cities, like, the younger people have to take those flights because the older people get dibs and the people on those flights are worse.
I wonder why.
I don't know. I was like
tourists?
what? Like, I don't know what it is. I lived in New York and people weren't bad, but it's just like I've noticed that though on the flights, man, those are weird flights.
They're weird flights, and then there was the Carson Wentz jersey guy. There was the guy who had no idea, and then the kid sitting beside me. I was trying to figure because I swear I'd never smelled this scent before. Like, it wasn't good, but it wasn't like typical BO. And when I say kid, he was 24, 25. So old enough to fly by himself and wash. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't know. It was like literally fart flavored ramen noodles is what this kid smelled like.
Shrimp ramen noodles.
Yeah. No, I like shrimp ramen. Actually, I haven't had those forever. They might be bad. I don't know, but he was bad. And then something that's never happened to me on a flight happened. Flown 14 times this year. We'll never do it again. This is absolutely my max. I'm so sick of it. But we got about 15 minutes left, and they come over the intercom and say, "Is there a doctor on board?"
Oh no.
Yeah, so someone was having a seizure, and then I was like, you know what? I'm being a jerk. These people are being fine. I should be happy.
Right.
I'm healthy.
Maybe it's you.
But then, as soon as I thought that, the medical personnel's coming on board, because this was like 10 minutes before we landed, and some chick, not even a chick, probably in her 40s, like 2 rows in front of me, taking Snapchats of the medical personnel coming on board to save someone from having a seizure.
Just trying to get it for the gram.
I mean, just like, those 4 people make me lose all faith.
The worst type of
right,
people.
And then I have to come home and watch Andy Dalton just stink it up. It was a rough weekend.
That sounds like it, man. It sounds like it. I mean, at least you have so people were asking me about the Bengals, like, what do you think? What do you think? And I'm like, I don't have any expectations. At least I have the Buckeyes to fall back on.
Right, yeah.
So they're keeping me happy for the weekend.
They are. That's another thing. I was at the Northwestern Ohio State game Friday night. That's why I was in Chicago. When's the last time you went to either a college or a pro game?
So it's been a while since I went to a pro game. I think it was like in like college. At some point was the last time I went to a pro game, Bengals game. It was like Bengals Ravens, and they had to win the game to like clinch to go to the playoffs, and they did. So it was exciting, but it's been a while.
What year was that?
Man, 2012, 2011, 2012. I have no idea.
I'm gonna try to reach these.
All the years run together now, but
they really do.
I haven't been to a pro game in a while. The last college game I actually went to an Ohio State game last year.
Oh yeah, which one was that?
They were playing Indiana, which at first I was like, I'd rather go to like a Penn State game or Michigan State game, something that's going to be more competitive. But that game was actually pretty competitive until like midway through the third quarter, and then Ohio State kind of pulled away. But it was cool because it was exciting. Everybody was excited, and I mean, I hadn't been to an Ohio State game since like middle school. Like I hadn't been to a game for years, and I love the atmosphere there. I love college football. I like pro games, but I think in person I prefer a college game.
My thing was at the game Friday night, in which I don't know if you listened, but I was very impressed when our good friend Raymond and I went to the Jets Monday night game along with his wife and a few friends. I hadn't been to an NFL game as a fan in 10 years, And like all the videos and stuff you see online would lead you to think it's just a fight all the time and everyone being mean to each other. It was very nice.
Yeah.
So was the Northwestern Ohio State game on Friday night, but there were people sitting directly in front of us, probably mid to late 20s, not college age students for sure, just blackout drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Do you do that when you go to games?
No. I mean, I like to drink, but I mean,
Right,
I don't like to get obliterated.
Yeah, probably the drunkest I've been this year was with you.
Yeah.
And,
you didn't have shit to do the next day.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to drink, I'm doing it because I'm bored. Like,
Right.
I never got, why are you going to spend $70, $80 on a ticket to not remember it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that.
Yeah, so I take that back. I'd been to a pro game. That was the last game I went to at the Bengals Stadium, but I actually went to MetLife and watched Giants-Bengals game. I can't remember what year that was. It was when I was still living here in New York. It was like an opening day game. It would have been like 3 or 4 years ago.
It was regular season?
Yeah, it was a regular season opening day game. Was it the Giants or was it?
I know they played the Jets opening day 2016.
It was probably the Jets then.
The Jets?
I think it was the Jets.
I don't know why I remember that.
Yeah. It was at MetLife. That's all I
It's
remember.
probably wrong now that I say that.
I just know that, I mean, it was exciting, and I think it was the Jets now that you say that, and they were leading most of the game, and then the Bengals kicked a field goal to win, like right at the end.
Yeah.
And I swear, it was like me and like 2 other people were the only Bengals fans, like in the whole stadium. And I was depressed the whole time, kind of sitting down in my chair. Everybody was cheering around me, and the Bengals kind of drive down the field. I'm getting excited. Everybody's up on their feet. And, they kick that field goal, and everybody sits down. And me and, the 2 Bengals fans behind me jump up. Yeah! And everybody's just like, fuck you. It was so great.
Dude, that's the thing. So, my dad and I think it would have been the same year, 2016, maybe 2017. But we went to see the Bengals play the Packers in Lambeau.
Okay.
And the Bengals were 0-2. And, of course, the Packers have been good mostly for the past better part of our lives. Mm-hmm. And the Bengals went up 14-0 in that game. They were up 28-7 at one point and lost. I know. That was 2 games that year. That game and the Steelers game, they were up by 21 points in both games and lost. And that's when I wanted to cut the cord on Marvin Lewis because I was like, dude, it's been... Right. That's how he does. He takes his foot off the gas.
Yep.
But it was kind of the same thing. The Packers fans afterward were very friendly because they won in overtime. It was Aaron Rodgers. It was a cool game to be at. Lambeau is amazing.
Yeah.
I had high expectations. It went beyond my expectations. It's literally a cool little neighborhood, a cool little town, and then, oh, by the way, there's a massive NFL stadium in the middle. But it was kind of the same situation. When the Bengals were up by 21, the Packers fans were kind of not as friendly. They weren't bad. They weren't harassing me. And as you know, I am as good of talking my way out of a fight as anyone, unless you try to charge me $30 for a freaking 6-pack. But, and my dad said afterward, he's like, they were getting a little edgy there for a minute. And it was just... It's amazing to me how much people... it's not my fault.
But they take it out on you. You're the one wearing the Bengals shirt right there. And everybody was really nice to me when the Bengals were losing that day.
Right.
As soon as they kicked that field goal, they're like, man, fuck you.
Dude, I remember me, and it was David Pollock's last career game. He broke his neck this game. But me and Shaq, who's one of my best friends, and Tyler Shackelford, we went to a Bengals-Browns game, and he has Browns stuff on. And, this is... I want to say 2008 maybe, I don't know, somewhere in that stretch of the last 20 years when the Browns have been terrible, and there were these 2 drunk chicks behind him just going to town. What is he supposed to do, and it's it's hard to keep your mouth shut, but people do it. And back probably had a weird edit there, had a little bit of a technical difficulty. I blame the guy who sold me these IPAs for $30. May he never find happiness. Let's go back real quick. There was some buzz this week, and Kevin Harlan kind of touched on this during the Bengals game yesterday. By the way, Rich Gannon, and I know you don't pay attention to announcers, which is the way to go because most of them are bad. I love Chris Spielman, and that's not Ohio State homerism. That's what I want out of a dude. Yeah. He just tells me what's happening and why it's happening.
I agree with that.
He's not trying to be Tony Romo, and I got some flack last week. I'm not a fan. Tony Romo, when he was a player, loved him. I was one of the few who was like, yeah, this dude is over. He was an undrafted dude, and he's doing this. But as an announcer, the guy can never stop talking. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm happy for him. I'm happy to see him doing well.
Yeah, that's my biggest pet peeve with announcers. Like, I don't know like names or like I don't really follow them like personalities like in that, but like when I'm listening to a game, I don't know who. Most of the time, I don't know who it is. You know what I mean?
That's
but
nice.
until they show their face. But like that is the thing for me. Like I've noticed, like watching some like I think it was Ohio State game. They had some younger guys on there maybe because it was like on the Big Ten Network or something like that.
Yeah, Big Ten Network.
But they were like just like
find
talking.
people in the crowd on the way.
They were just like
hey.
talking and they were just like making weird comments about shit that like had nothing to do with the game. And I'm like, dude, just shut up. Like I'm not here to listen to you. Like I want to watch the game.
Right.
You can say what happened on the field, but that's what I'm looking for in a commentator.
There's no, especially in this day and age, there's no commentator who people are watching the game for. And maybe the only instance where that happened is when Pat McAfee did a college game earlier.
I do like Pat McAfee.
Right. You put someone like that in there who's not a square. And that's not. I love a lot of these guys. Most of them. Collinsworth, I think, is great. Spielman's great. I think Troy Aikman's great. I know I sound like a homer because Spielman a Buckeye and Collinsworth a Bengal. But I like those guys a lot. I'm sure there's more out there. I like Booger, and that's what I got flack for. A lot of people don't like Booger McFarland. Obviously, Jason Witten.
I actually just talked to a guy leaving the office. He's from Jersey, but he's a Browns fan, and he's like, I hate Booger, and I was like, really? Like I don't know why you would hate.
He seems like a normal dude to me, right? That's what I want.
Yeah, I like Booger. So
even if I don't agree with some things that a commentator says, just be normal. Don't try to outsmart me. Like I want that. Tell me what's going on, but don't be a douche about it. And then just be a normal dude and don't try that. Like
don't try too hard.
That ticked me off so much yesterday. Rich Gannon, to start the Bengals broadcast, said the first thing that got brought up was Jalen Ramsey because obviously got traded from the Jaguars to the Rams. And Rich Gannon, first thing out of his mouth, and I've always liked Rich Gannon, but he goes, I hate to see a player rewarded for bad behavior. Like, dude, what? Are you from the 60s right now? Right?
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of the like consensus, I feel like, with like the old school people about people like wanting trades, even with like the NBA the same way, but they do not want to see players like
I don't get that.
going out and like trying to like get traded and like I mean I understand to a point you signed a contract whatever, but if you're not like if you can't agree with the front office,
dude,
like there's not going to be.
I mean, if you're not happy, you're not happy.
Right. If you're not going to be in a good relationship, it's not going to be good for the team overall. It's almost best to just like cut bait and get the fuck out.
Right. Yeah, man. That was just one of those things. That's like, what do you? It's a business. Like this guy, every NFL player has that, if you're lucky, 8 to 10 year window to make money. Mm-hmm. And I hate to see a player get rewarded for bad behavior. Like this is pee-wee football.
But a team can just like trade you whenever, or cut you whenever, and like, come on, like, it's this guy's livelihood. You know?
And then who was it? I think it was Matt Millen on one of the broadcasts we were watching the other day said. Someone was down 9 and they were kicking a field goal on like 4th and goal from the 1 maybe, and Matt Millen was like, I don't understand this here at all. And whoever was done the play-by-play was like, well, if he does this, it'll be a 1-score game. And Matt Millen goes, oh yeah, that's a good idea. This is the right move. And it's like, and he admitted like that he was wrong. And I don't know. As we get older, I know that I'm not as sharp as I used to be, and it's not like we're that old.
Yeah.
But it's just like, are you paying attention?
Well,
this is addition of subtraction we're talking about.
I almost hate when they like let commentators and stuff like go too long. Like Lee Corso is the biggest thing for me when I watch like Game Day. I love Lee Corso, dude. I grew up with that show, and like Lee Corso is the man. But like when I hear him like stumbling over words and shit, I'm like, oh, like I don't know how I feel about that, But I know that he wants to be there, so they're just kind of like letting him fucking do his thing. Yeah. But it's just like I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, man, it's rough. There's a lot of people out there. I wish they would do more. And honestly, ESPN was ahead of the curve when do you remember when we were little, they put Dennis Miller in the Monday Night Football booth, who at the time, he's a comedian, had a show on HBO, and he was only on ESPN for 1 year. I don't know that he was the right guy, but I think kind of a crossover like a Pat McAfee, who is a player, but also has kind of that normal dude perspective, and I'm sure there's other guys out there I'm just not thinking of right now. I'd like to see more. It's just there's too many old grumbly dudes who played way too long ago. And it's not that they don't know the game.
Right.
It's just your attitudes aren't current.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I would listen to a Pat McAfee type guy.
Yeah.
Or Pat McAfee himself all day long.
Yeah. And, yeah, man, I don't know. I just get... And, Monday Night Football, I don't get why they didn't go after Joe Thomas this time. Because apparently the rumor was... And Joe Thomas, I think, came out and said this, that when Jason Witten got Monday Night Football, that the options were Witten, I want to say Peyton Manning, and then Joe Thomas was third, but Witten obviously took the job. Joe Thomas, I don't know if you've seen him on NFL Network, or he comes on Dan Patrick sometimes. He's good, man. He's just a normal dude who obviously understands football, and I hope he doesn't lose that, because I do think sometimes the network try to kind of carve these guys up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ray sent me a few episodes of his podcast that he's on. He has a
Joe
podcast
Thomas?
with, isn't it the Hawkins dude that used to play for the Bengals too, or he played for the Browns?
Oh, is it Andrew Hawkins?
I think
he blocked me on Twitter, so I don't watch anything he does.
I think they have a podcast. You'd have to ask Ray to confirm that, but I think I listened to a few episodes of his, and he's good on the podcast.
All right. Well, Raymond, if you're out there hawking other people's podcasts, you better be sending mine out as well, pal. Yeah, so we've got the Monday night game on here. We're going to have a good time tonight. We're doing half an hour so far. Anything else you want to get into? Anything else people should know about you? Do you have any questions, concerns for the world? There'll be at least 12 people who listen to this.
I mean, I don't really have any questions or concerns. I don't know what else I can say about myself. I was gonna bring something up. So you asked me if I had anything to talk about, and I was like, no, I don't have anything to talk about. But when I was sitting here thinking, I was gonna ask you about that the new ruling that they passed in California about players in college being able to profit off their likeness.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
What do you think about that?
I think it's awesome. I don't think people understand what it means. You know what I mean? I think people are like, they're either like, they think it's like college are going to pay everybody or they're not.
Well, people
and like,
are
that's not
stupid
what that
is the
means.
problem,
Like,
right.
I'm like, this just means that a guy can start a YouTube channel and still play football and
there's
profit
one player,
off of that.
Who was the player? I forget who
There's
it was.
some kicker for some like D1
Yeah,
school,
there was a
small
kicker who
D1
was
school,
making legit money
Yeah.
being a YouTube star.
and they didn't let him play.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
and it even comes down to like, there's like people. So think about this: like, if you can go back to like, even me as like a high school wrestler, I was able to go back and do like a youth wrestling clinic and show kids like moves, and like obviously they didn't pay me, but if you're a D1 college football star, high school would pay you to come back and like, say you're a quarterback, and you want to go back and like show kids how to throw a football, like they would pay you to do that, but you can't do that now.
it's the most ridiculous thing to me that you can't do it.
It's crazy.
Because, and that's the thing that people don't. It's not, because I always thought the idea of let's pay college athletes. All right, well, are you going to give Dwayne Haskins at Ohio State or Justin Fields now at Ohio State the same money you give to someone on the swimming team?
Right.
And kudos to the swim team. The women in particular are ballers there. They've won national championships recently. But you should be. And here's the other thing: we see at every game we go to, the jerseys with the players' names on them that people are special ordering online, and it's like these players get nothing from that. And on top of that, I saw someone tweeted the other day, and Jay Billis retweeted it. Jay Billis, ESPN college basketball guy, very passionate about this. So there was a shirt at Oklahoma. Where's Oklahoma University at? I know Stillwater's Oklahoma State. I can't think of it right now. Anyways, Jalen Hurts, our quarterback now.
Norman?
Yeah, Norman. The transfer from Alabama, there was a T-shirt and a store there that said Hurts so good with his number underneath of it. And the person, I think it was a local politician, pointed out the person making the T-shirt profits off of it, the retailer profits off of it, the distributor profits off of it. The only person who can't legally profit off of this is Jalen Hurts, who literally the shirt is about.
Yep.
And it's just, that's where I'm at, man.
And without Jalen Hurts, Oklahoma is not nearly as good as they
No,
are.
not
So if
now.
he were to,
Yeah,
if
they'd
Jalen
have
Hurts were to
Tyler
be like,
Baker
actually,
or
I want to make that money, then they would have to suspend him, and that team would be like,
right.
we don't have a quarterback anymore. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's
the
craziest
NCAA
thing.
would suspend him.
To me, it's like I've always said, like, I think that the player should get paid for like the work he does. So like, if you don't want to pay everybody at the school, like you said, like the swim team, the volleyball team, the soccer team, like the teams that don't bring in as much revenue as a football team, it's just how it is. I mean, people might not like to hear that, but the football team brings in way more money.
Sure.
The player should probably, like, you're going to do a press conference after the game. Like, why does the player have to be obligated to go on stage and, like, answer all these people's questions? He's a freaking 18, 19, 20-year-old kid. Like, you should pay him for his time, you know?
Yeah, and
that's always been my stance.
You know, you should do all the stuff that comes with that because I think it's important to, especially people at Ohio State, Alabama, those big schools, Clemson, for a lot of those guys, if they're getting trotted out for a press conference, they're going to be pros, so you should be preparing them for that. But this idea that they can't profit off their own likeness, that they can't say, you know, it's just, you work so hard your whole life. And when I was in college, I was allowed to work. I was allowed to, Logan Paul, who everyone hates, but we remember him when I think he's a fine guy, by the way. When we were in college, you remember he was at Ohio University, and the dude was making bank, making Vine videos. Yep. He was allowed to do it. Yep. Everyone knew he went to OU. Everyone knew he was a college student, but he wasn't.
Couldn't play a sport, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think he might have been a wrestler in high school, too.
Oh, yeah?
Because he was, he's doing those fights now. He's fighting at the Staples Center.
Looks, I watched, like, highlights of that fight. He looked good.
Yeah.
Like, his punches are on point.
He went to
like,
one
he
of the
knows
good
how to
Cleveland
box.
schools. Yeah.
He knows how to box.
And that's just, it's absurd to me that you can't, I don't really have a hot take. It's just why can human beings who have worked hard, that's the thing to remember. These kids have worked since they were 5. I mean, you worked since you were 5 years old to wrestle what? D2? D3, you know?
Yeah, like,
and that's not to knock on you.
No, it just takes work, man. Like, obviously some of it is, like, God-given gifts, but dude, most of those guys at that level work their ass off for that shit. People don't realize it. I mean, they see him on TV. I mean, you and I both played football. Like, we weren't even close to going to college to play football.
No,
like,
and the kids in our area who were beasts.
Are not even close.
Not even, I can think of, I can count on one hand the kids we went to high school with who got D1 scholarships.
Yep.
And they worked and then to get to that point and then not be able to cash in on any of that for 4 years.
Like Adam Bice comes to mind. He was a D1. He played at Akron U, and I mean, he couldn't
inducted in the Tri-Valley High School Hall of Fame last week.
Right, but while he was at school, they couldn't pay him to come back and teach kids how to block.
Yeah,
I mean, he was like a huge asset to the high school, and he couldn't come back and teach anybody how to block and then pay him. He probably would have done it because he's a good guy for free.
Right, I mean, he did. He ended up coaching there for a little bit.
Yeah, but like to come back and like do a clinic, like a school should be able to pay him a couple $100 to come back for his time.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like a few $100.
And that's all it is.
Man.
But they won't even let you make $5. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
And Adam's a guy too who played. He was in camp. He was in NFL training camps. Made it to the final round of cuts. But at Akron University, that's a big deal to get to an NFL training camp.
Yeah.
And a lot of all the schools, the smaller schools, Bowling Green, Toledo. Miami University, OU. Mm-hmm. I mean, all those schools, to see those kids from small towns like ours go and make an NFL training camp. I mean, even though Adam didn't get to play in the NFL, that's a situation where forever there's pictures of him in a Miami Dolphins uniform. I think he played for the Cardinals too, in a Cardinals uniform. Mm-hmm. And that's cool stuff. And you put that alone on a flyer for Akron University and say, hey, our 3-year starting center, Adam Bice, here he is in an NFL uniform, $50 to come to camp, and why can he not get a few $100?
Right.
Which he could after the fact.
Now, yeah.
It's just,
but
I don't know. We went, I guess, kind of going outside there, but the point is, you're a human being. You do good at something, you should make money off of it. That's capitalism. That's what the country's built on.
Exactly. You work your ass off. It's
the
your
NCAA
name.
Sucks, man.
Yeah,
it really does. And I'm not a big,
terrible.
I'm not a big take a dump on everyone. Everyone's terrible. Everyone's bad. But just, they really do just try to control people to the best of their ability.
It's hard to watch, man, and it's why like the whole like the college football playoff and like the Final Four to me is just like unbearable because like obviously they should like add another round. They should add a few teams. In my eyes, maybe you don't agree, but I just think the reason that they don't do that is because like they like this like showcase these 4 teams and it's a big like spectacle and like the NCAA brings in millions of dollars, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars and those kids don't see a dime.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah, man, you're not wrong about that. We'll see. I think it's going to change. The thing in California, I think it's not scheduled to go into action until 2022.
Right.
Is that right?
I don't know the exact date. I just know there's some other states that are actually jumping on board.
Right. I mean, they've got to do it at some point. Again, off of their likeness. So it's not like you're saying every player gets this much
That's
money.
why, yeah.
And look, the fact of the matter is players have been doing this.
Yeah.
It's just, AJ Green got suspended in college for selling one of his team used jerseys.
Right. And he should be able to do it.
Right. It's his jersey.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. We'll see how it goes. It's funny now. I mean, I was a student at Ohio State when Jim Tressel essentially got fired for the tattoo game. Mm-hmm. And it's like, to see all the terrible things that have happened now. Mm-hmm. Jim Tressel had to leave because his players were getting free tattoos. Yeah. And, it wasn't, on campus, it wasn't any secret that these guys were, Columbus is a big, small town. Right. I mean, if you play football at Ohio State, there's a bunch of greasy grown men who wear NFL jerseys. It's like the fact that they're 50 years old.
That's the guy.
And they're like, ooh, you play football for my team? Ooh.
Yeah. They're royalty there, man.
But they work at a car dealership, and they'll be like, hey, take a picture with me, and I'll be less of a loser, and my kids won't hate me so much. And,
exactly. Yep.
So that's how it goes. All right, man. Let's wrap this up. What are we going to do tonight? We got Patriots and my Jets starting here shortly. Man, my number 3 team now, the Jets, I think. I got to keep Tampa at number... That's the thing. When I was little, I lived in Florida for a while. And that's the other thing about, picking up a different team now is when we were little, that was before Sunday Ticket. Yeah. So when I was living in Florida, if I was watching the NFL on Sunday, I was watching the Bucks most likely because that's the market I was in.
You watch the team that you're there.
So they've become my number 2 team over the years. Now, we could stream, do whatever. And, so yeah. We'll do whatever. Good to have you in New York.
We'll just go cheer on the Jets. No, let's go cheer on the Patriots and make the Jets fans mad.
No way.
All right, I'll cheer on the Jets.
I'm very anti-Patriots.
There's a girl in my office who is a huge Jets fan. She has Tom Brady on her background of her computer, and I always talk shit.
You mean huge Patriots fan?
Yeah. Oh, what did I say?
You said Jets, and then you
Patriots
said Tom Brady.
Yeah, huge Patriots fan. She was when I was walking out, she had just walked out of the women's restroom. She changed to a jersey.
Ooh, so maybe whose jersey?
Tom Brady, of course. She loves Tom Brady.
Dude, and for me, for whatever reason, it's better when women do it. Is that...
What, with the jersey? Oh, yeah. I think the whole thing with the wearing another man's jersey if you're a man.
Yeah.
It's emasculating to me.
Yeah, it's just
do what you gotta do, I guess, but I couldn't do it anymore.
I love everyone. I'm all about everyone living their life how they want, but I'm a dude, too,
Yeah, I don't know. I just have a simple t-shirt, It says Cincy on the front, and that's how I rock it.
Yeah, is that the homage shirt?
Yeah, it's a good shirt.
Go. It really is.
It's good company.
They should sponsor the podcast.
Ooh, yeah.
Might have to
reach out.
Homage,
we love your shit.
All 8 of our listeners will be glad to. We have more than that, but we're gonna keep building. We're gonna get better. All right, man. I appreciate you tuning or stopping in. Man, these $30 IPAs are getting to me.
Hey, Matt,
to stumble over my words.
I appreciate you having me in my hotel room doing this podcast.
Yeah, we're in your
I
nice
appreciate
hotel room.
you stopping in.
14th floor, baby.
Yeah,
this is nice.
1408. We said that was a scary movie.
It is Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, I don't know who's in it, but this is the first ever haunted podcast that you had.
Oh, it is haunted.
It's spooky.
It's Halloween almost. B, I talk about the Browns a lot on here. They are definitely what's the word? If you get exorcised, you are possessed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They have a demon inside them. They can't get rid of it. I think the Bengals do too. By the way, we'll end with this. I've been going forever now. But I was watching Andy Dalton's post-game press conference on Twitter yesterday on the Periscope, and the amount of people on there who were commenting that they want to see Jeff Driscoll start. Here's the problem with that. He now plays for the Detroit Lions. So
that's the whole thing. Yeah, when a Bengals fan's on there talking on the comment section.
Fan base. Oh man. Anyone who publicly comments on a live stream video.
Yeah.
Most likely an insane
person. When people draw conclusions off of people commenting on Facebook comment threads. Those are not not normal people. So don't
get rid of Facebook, man.
Get rid of Facebook.
Do you have Facebook on your phone?
I do.
See, I took it off. Oh, I maybe get on there once every 3 days on my laptop. Right. I never once have I got on there and been like, ooh, I missed this. Right. If anything important happens, I know from my family.
You're probably right. I'm a big Instagram guy anyway, so maybe I'll just drop the Facebook.
I like Instagram, and I'm big on Twitter. I'm at Matt Edwards on Twitter if you want to follow me. Do you have anything you want to shout out?
I mean, you don't have to follow me, but I'm MLK_IG on Instagram.
You do a lot of cool traveling.
I do a lot.
You don't promote yourself as a cool travel guy because you don't need to.
No.
You have a life, unlike myself, and you don't need followers for glorification. But if people do want to follow you, you're always out in the canyons.
Yeah. MLK_IG on Instagram. I mean, I just like my fiance and I like to travel. We like to hike a lot and stuff like that. So there's a lot of pretty cool. Mitchell Lee King, actually. We do share initials. It's not a ripoff.
All right. Thanks to Auto Magic for bringing in our music and bringing out our music. Check them out on Spotify. Thanks to Mitch for hanging out. It's a good old football podcast. Thank you for tuning in.